Today, we're going to talk about matrix addition, and we're going to use this simple question from JAM to illustrate how to do matrix addition. So the question says, find the value of x and y respectively if this matrix plus this matrix will give us this matrix. So how are we going to do it? First of all, we recognize that this matrix here has 3 rows and 2 columns. So this is a 3 by 2 matrix. Similarly, this matrix here also has 3 rows and 2 columns. So this is also a 3 by 2 matrix. First of all, this 2 matrix addition is possible because this matrix here and this matrix here are of the same order or dimension. In other words, since this is a 3 by 2 matrix and this is also a 3 by 2 matrix, then the addition is possible. And how do we then add? We simply add the element in the same position. In other words, the first element here, the element in the first row, first column will be added to the element in the first row, first column here. Element in the first row, second column will also be added to element in the second column here in that order. So here we go. We then have that, let's focus on this part first, that 1, 0, minus 1, minus 1, 2, 2, plus, then this matrix, x, 1, minus 1, 0, y, and minus 2. This will give us, we are adding elements in the same position. That is, we have 1 plus x, first row, first column, first row, first column. Then we then have 0 plus 1, this one and this one. Then we then have minus 1 plus minus 1. We also have minus 1 plus 0. We then have 2 plus y. And finally, we then have 2 plus minus 2. So we added elements in the same position. And this we automatically reduce to, we have 1 plus x, and then 0 plus 1 will give us 1. Here, plus times minus is minus, then minus 1 will give us minus 2. We then have minus 1 plus 0. Of course, that is minus 1. Then we have 2 plus y, and eventually we have plus times minus is minus, then 2 minus 2, that will give us 0. So when we added these two matrices together, this is what we have. But they say that this matrix is equivalent to this. In other words, we have that 1 plus x, 1 minus 2 minus 1, 2 plus y, 0, is the same thing as this matrix, minus 2, 1, minus 2, minus 1, 2, minus 3, and 0. So they are saying that this matrix is equivalent to this matrix. What it means is that elements in the same position must be equal. In other words, the element in the first row, first column here will be the same element in the first row, first column here. Element in the first row, second column will be the same element here. As you can see, this minus 2 is here, this is minus 2 here, which also shows that elements in the second row, first column are the same. So if that is true, we then have that to obtain the value of y and x, we then equate the elements in that position. That is, that 1 plus x is equals to minus 2. We are equating this element and this element. And from here now, if we then subtract 1 from both sides of the equation, we then have that x is equals to minus 2 minus 1, which is minus 3. Also, when we equate elements in the third row, first column, we have that 2 plus y will be the same thing as minus 3. And if we should subtract 2 from both sides of the equation, we have that y is equals to minus 3 minus 2, and this is exactly minus 5. Therefore, our x is minus 3 and our y is minus 5. Bye.